Great. Good evening. Today is the Board of Directors regular meeting. Today's Thursday, May 28th, 2020 at 6 p.m. This meeting is being held remote via Zoom. Ms. Pania, can you please call the roll?
Director Gould.
Here.
Orzali.
Present.
Wood.
Here.
Sailors.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Jones.
Present.
White.
Here.
I'm going to mark Director Kelly as absent. If he joins, I'll make note. And Director Sheets, I'll turn it back over to you.
Great. This is the Metro Cable announcement. The open session meeting is videotaped for cable cast on Metro Cable 14. Replay on Sunday, May 31st at 9 a.m. and Monday, June 1st at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. Webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. This is the public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within district's jurisdiction, including items on or not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
I did not receive any notifications prior to the meeting starting. However, Art, if you can unmute the participants.
I'm doing so now.
Great, thank you.
Okay, participants, you are unmute, or you have the ability to unmute yourself if you'd like to speak. All right, there's no response.
Great, thank you. Moving on to the consent items. Are there any questions from our directors?
Madam Chair, I'd move the consent.
Okay. I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Can you please call the roll?
Director Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Sailors.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
And Sheets.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, moving on to the action item. Are there any questions? I guess we have to
There might be.
Sorry, my scribble scratch. I would like to welcome Chief Green, please.
Thank you, President Sheets. Good evening, directors. Chief Harms, Chris Green here, Assistant Chief Shift Commander for the B Shift, and have oversight of our Air Operations Program. It's a pleasure to join you this evening, albeit the virtual format, as we ask for your support with the proposed contract extension with DynCorp International for the maintenance of our helicopter fleet. I was also asked to give just a brief update of air operations in general, so let me start with that. First and foremost, an update on our most valuable asset is our air operations members. Under the leadership of our chief pilot, Monty Van Landingham, and our program manager, Captain Bryce Mitchell, we have nearly all of our crew returning this season, with the exception of two folks. Firefighter Matt Dargan is currently on deployment with the California Air National Guard, and firefighter Derek Sheets transitioned in the off-season back to the line after over 5 years of service within air operations as a paramedic aerial observer. It should be noted that he spent the last season training his replacement, which is Captain James Doyle, who's now joining us full-time this season in the same PAO role. Overall, succession planning is a key element within air operations at all levels. And we do this to ensure all of our institutional knowledge is passed on to our newest members. On the training front this year, crews have been busy within the last 3 weeks working on their annual currency qualifications. Could be carded with CAL FIRE for our annual qualification process early next week, as we've already seen an uptick of fires throughout the Northern California region with the north winds in the past few weeks and the hot weather this week. We do anticipate a full capacity start date of June 10th. Coming up very shortly. And as always, after hours at night in the off season, we do aim to meet the 1 hour call out for requests for service from time of call to skids up. Our air operations program also endured some COVID-19 challenges. Fortunately, we've made it through With our DynCorp contract, fortunately, all of our adjustments to what we've done with our workforce were concurrent with our mechanics as well. So we made it through our maintenance schedules that had been planned through COVID-19. Unfortunately, 2 of our industry-leading trainings this spring were canceled. Priority 1 hoist training and bell emergency training. Unfortunately, the industry is unable to reschedule, but the silver lining is all of our members have been through that initial training in the past. We look forward to picking up where we left off next year. A brief update on the acquisition of copters 3 and 4. They're still safe and sound in our hangar out at Station 115. We've come up with some short-term plans and some long-term plans on really how to fund and what those options look like for placing those into service as we move down the road. But obviously, we are not moving into that at this time with our current fiscal impacts. We just finished up our use agreement, MOU contract, so with our 4 local partnering agencies for the use of the helicopter, and that also includes the use of the dozer, as we have in past years. All those stipulations have remained the same. We do get a lot of questions to what goes on in the off season during the winter months. Give you 2 big items that we did over this last winter. The first was on the Copter 1. We added a wireless communication system within the helicopter. What this essentially does is allows our crew members, while outside of the helicopter, perhaps on a hoist rescue, up to over 200 feet down on the line, communicate via headset, Bluetooth technology. In the past, we've always used hand signals and so forth. This was a monumental safety upgrade we've been aiming for a long time. It's nice that we've been able to accommodate that. And secondly, I know you're all familiar with our training series, the Professional Development Program. One of our topics early was air operations awareness. So we were able to provide not only a 2-hour class on what air operations is all about, with all the capabilities of the missions that we fly, but also to use it as a recruiting tool for new members as we hope to open up this next fall to additional folks. Lastly, on the update is an update on our pilots. In terms of pilot attrition, we're continuing to explore options on how to provide more depth with our pilot rank. We are at obviously a minimum level right now. We've been at that same level for some time. We're working through a lot of different options with the chief pilot and also the industry as well to expand that. Some great news, we brought on a part-time pilot in the off season, actually late last fire season, who's joined us. He's working out tremendously well, and we look forward to having him fly with us in his first fire season here in Northern California within this program. And I'll close just the update with really a bittersweet bit of information. It's a tribute to one of our pilots, Mr. Chuck Smith. Chuck recently retired from flying with us. He's been with us for the last 15 years. Many of you had a chance to, if you haven't met him over the years, he was in the audience in the boardroom last year when Captain Mitchell presented some video and some information on the hoist rescue up in the Sierra Nevadas. Chuck was in the crowd, but I really would be remiss without pointing out that he's a retired member of the U.S. Army. He's a Vietnam veteran. He's a combat veteran. He also flew in the Sheriff's Office for over 30 years. His contributions to our country and to our constituents within this community, really just the words thank you aren't tribute enough. We look forward to do something appropriate for him once we get out of the COVID-19 restrictions. But we're going to miss his talents and his dedication within the Air Ops program, but his friendship remains resilient. With that, let me move on to the action item of the evening. A request for your support for a contract extension with DynCorp International for our aircraft support. Let me give you a little bit of background of our long-term plan with this. This is a long-term maintenance plan that readjusts the expiration of the current contract from June 30, which is in the middle of the wildland season, to December 31st in the off season. We use this metric of our service delivery as our #1 priority. When we look at this, as we go out next year into a request for proposal process, we're very concerned that while we don't anticipate, but should we change vendors, we do not want to change a maintenance vendor in the middle of the fire season. That could put our program down for anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks. So one of the easiest ways to mitigate that is we work with DynCorp to extend this contract. It's a 1-year extension, which allows for an additional 6 months on top of that, which will push us into December 31st, 21. This window gives us time to develop updated requirements through an RFP process that we'll be researching this fall, so we can receive the best maintenance contract product for the value through that competitive bid process. The cost of this current contract is $360,500. It's currently budgeted for within the fiscal year 2021 preliminary budget that our CFO, Amanda Thomas, presented earlier this evening. It concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about the contract extension proposal or air operations in general.
Thank you, Chief Green. Are there any questions or comments?
Madam Chair, this is Cindy. I have some comments that I'd like to make.
Sure, go ahead.
Assistant Chief Green, I would just like to say thank you for that presentation and the information that came out. You know, I love the helicopters. I think that's one of the best tools that this department has in this whole area. All the other departments in the area are very jealous of the helicopters. I understand the need to have the hold on the chapters 3 and 4 because of the physical impacts right now. The new part-time pilot, what's his name?
Mr. Pete Faith.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to thank you again for that presentation. It was very helpful. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Great. Any other questions or comments for our directors?
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we adopt the extension.
I'll second.
Great, we have a motion and a second, and I just wanted to make a comment after roll call.
Same here as well.
Director Gould,
Aye.
Borzali,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Sailors,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
and Sheets.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Chief Green, I just wanted to thank you for the all of the information. I wanted to wish Chuck a wonderful retirement and welcome Pete to the Air Ops program. It's a wonderful program, and I also agree with Director Sailors that it is a valuable asset for our department.
Absolutely, I'll pass it.
All right, we are going
Madam
to
Chair,
skip. Sorry.
if I could also just comment on Chuck's retirement as well. You know, Chuck is someone who much respect for his service in the Army and the Sheriff's Department, but you know, even more importantly for the years that he played in the Pig Bowl, the Guns and Hoses game. So I did want to congratulate him on his well-deserved and well-earned retirement. He'll be missed, but he was quite an asset while we had him. So, and Chief Green as well, thanks for the informational report.
Thank you. Any other comments from our directors? All right, we are going to skip action item 2 and 3, and we will return that after closed session. Moving on to the president's report, I have just a couple of few things that I wanted to discuss. I wanted to take a moment to address the current situation with COVID-19 in regards to remote meetings. The original county order and governor's executive order still applies to public meetings, allowing for remote meetings. Conducting the public meeting subject to the Brown Act by personal attendance or gathering is not currently part of the reopening phase, and therefore Metro Fire will continue to hold board meetings and committee meetings remotely by the way of teleconference. As soon as the reopening phase of the governor's order and or the Sacramento County Public Health Officer orders apply to allow these meetings to return to normal attendance in a safe manner, as we have done so in the past, the board will do so. Hopefully that is something that can occur not too far down the line. Compliance with the order are mandatory, and the health and safety of our board members, Metro Fire employees, and the public are paramount. And we're looking forward to returning to our regular practices when it is safe to do so. Are there any questions? All right, thank you. Moving on to the fire chief's report, Chief Harms.
Good evening, directors. President Sheets, kind of with your talk right there, as far as the district, we have also extended. We kind of expected maybe on June 1st, we would see some changes that had happened. Overall, during these last about 70 plus days, people working remotely, having people kind of split their schedules and being able to balance has really been successful for the district. As you said, we've been following the state and the county guidance, and again, extended kind of the alternative work from home, at least through the end of probably this period of time now, till it gets better. It was timely with Chief Green speaking tonight on the air operations. Earlier today, right around lunchtime, I believe the helicopter was out doing some training in the far southern part of the district, or not the district, of the county. There was actually a boat that went over, and one person they weren't able to find in the water. Again, what a great asset that we have in the helicopter. I know I could tell it was Bryce on the radio, and it was possibly Bonnie. Responded down there, filled the gap probably for about 20 minutes until the Coast Guard showed up, communicated with the ground crews, really guided some boats into an area that they were at, and just a great job of being available, hearing something going on, and then responding to that emergency down there. It has been, even though it has been an interesting couple of weeks, it has been a busy couple of weeks. We have gone forward with social distancing in place and been able to try to fill some positions. We had a promotion to safety specialist by Brian Spencer. Brian, maybe some of you had seen before, worked in logs as a tech over there, interviewed against a lot of people, both internally and externally, and is the new safety specialist. They help maintain the protective equipment, washing, cleaning, gear, SCBAs, fit testing. And it was just really great to see a member from inside compete for a position and maintain that position. As you know, last meeting, Battalion Chief Dan Baker retired after 25 years of service, and congratulations to Dan. We're looking forward to getting together with him after some of the restrictions are lifted, but that opens up for a promotion, and Battalion Chief Mike Sloan, or Captain Mike Sloan, will become Battalion Chief on June 1st, and he's going to be assigned to Battalion 14 on B shift. We finished up, we did some meetings across the district, myself and the deputies and the shift commanders through a Zoom platform just like this. They were very well attended. We ended up with 6 different meetings. I think a few of you directors were able to get on with the membership in the field, and then 2 meetings with professional staff. Again, the amount of people that were able to get on, and then the amount of feedback that we got on the positive side was really good. And then what we did was videotaped one of those and then posted that. So if somebody was off on a call, didn't hear something, they have the opportunity to go back and meet with that. Myself and the other executives met with Sac City. Talked a lot about the different challenges that are going on, some of the border areas that we respond to. We also had 2 labor management meetings, again by Zoom, just to make sure that we stay connected, communicating, and really labor has that ability to bring those issues from the membership. And again, by not waiting in a meeting, we're able to solve just a lot of I don't even want to call them problems, just issues that were going on, and being able to move forward from there. On yesterday, we did a 2x2 meeting with Citrus Heights, kind of discussed, really most of the interest was about Metro and our responses. We gave them an update on the mobile integrated health unit and some of the responses that they had done to some of the care centers and facilities in Citrus Heights. Talked about the stats. And one of the questions that has been out there a lot about it has been about fireworks and what does it look like for moving forward. We were able to work, and Lisa Barsdale worked with the State Fire Marshal's office. The Safe and Sane fireworks will continue. And what we're seeing though is I think all but maybe one local fireworks display, one of the large ones will happen. No, let me say that. Only one will happen. Most of them will be delayed until Labor Day at that time then. We had the opportunity yesterday, myself and the deputies and Chief House went down and we meet with the young recruits and spend some time with them. We buy them pizza and then just really talk about their career and a little bit about the interesting times as they move forward. We all feel that it's very important to celebrate them. The graduation, and after 18 weeks, on Friday night will be their graduation. We did not want to stop doing that, so it will be live on Facebook. We'll have some social distancing. It'll be the DI staff, myself, and the recruits that will be down there. They'll get their station assignments. So congratulations to them. Please, if you have the ability to get on live Facebook, let's do that if you can, and we'll move forward from there. The last thing I just want to talk about was that we have talked a few times about our membership, taking care of our membership, the exposures that they have had out there. We had an opportunity very early on to purchase some antibody testing kits. Took a little while to get them here, but when they've gotten here, they have arrived. We worked with Dr. Mackey as our medical director and Dr. Roster, and then Captain Perryman on setting out the guidelines, expectations, the strengths and the weaknesses of the actual test. As I had talked to some of you before, we started off with folks that had tested positive, people that had been under high exposure, so people on the mobile integrated health unit. And we moved forward from there. They started Tuesday, and so far they've completed over 177 tests. We've had 5 people that have tested positive, which is about 2.8% as far as a test positive rate. We've had obviously the folks that tested positive. We've had people that had signs and symptoms that expected to, that they possibly could have been exposed. That came back, and then we've had individuals that had no signs or symptoms that tested positive. The response from the crews has been just overwhelmingly positive. The group, along with Dr. Mackey and Dr. Rossiter, have individually gone out and met with the members, and a lot of the time has been spent just answering questions. What's happening? What are the advantages, disadvantages? And then really kind of what are the next steps moving forward. I think this shows from the district just a great investment in our folks, into their health and their welfare, for being able to move forward. They'll continue with the other 2 shifts moving forward, and then we'll go through really the professional staff with the mechanics and the fleet and the folks that take care of the protective equipment on through the organization then for being able to move forward. And Dr. Gould, as you said, just a quick update on our member. I talked to him just recently. He was released, which was very positive, and was able to go home. Some follow-up stuff to do, but is doing very well supported by the district and the shift commanders, and then local 522. No needs at this time and is doing very well. So that ends my report unless you have some questions for me.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions, comments for Chief Harms? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the operations report. Chief Bridge.
Thank you, President Sheets, and good evening, directors. Eric Bridge, Deputy Chief Operations. Give you a short report this evening. I don't know if we call it good news or bad news, but the call volume is back up to where we have been before COVID-19. Not sustained at that rate, but the last C shift day, about 5 days ago, we had about 321 calls. Yesterday, we had 298 calls. And as you recall, my reports from previous meetings during the middle of this crisis, our call volume was right around 200 calls for service per day. So the call volume is definitely returning itself back to normal. Of course, the warm weather, people getting out, that's all part of it, I'm sure, is attributing factors to that. And as always, Engine 53 and Medic 24 are right at the top of the call volume. So Engine 53, since our last board meeting on May 14th, they've been running about 14 calls a day. So they close to 200 calls for the 2 weeks, and Medic 24 had 183 calls. And as I've said many times, there's about 10 or 12 units that are battling for first and second place all the time for the call volume. Also briefly, just want to share with the trends, what's happening with our mobile integrated health units. We have the two, CC 109 and CC 102. They have again been, at the request of the County Public Health Department, been targeting congregate living facilities. The week of May 4th, we swabbed over 301 patients, and we had 4 positives that came back from those facilities. The following week, the week of the 11th, there was 327 swabs performed. One of those facilities was a return visit at the request of public health, where we had about 6 or 7 positives prior. This time we returned back and we had 17 positives at that facility, of which nobody was transported to the hospital. So most of these are either mild to no symptoms at all. The week of the 18th, we had 321 swabs we did, which was last week, and we had 2 positives. This week, we've already tested over 300 and we haven't had 1 positive at all. So the numbers are declined significantly. The patients in the ICUs have dropped significantly. I believe, as I checked just a little bit ago, in Sacramento County, we have two cases in the ICU for COVID-19 related. So the trends are looking positive. Our members are doing a fantastic job out there navigating the waters of this new territory that we're in at the moment. And I couldn't be more proud of them. And lastly, I'm excited for tomorrow night. We got 18 new firefighters coming in to join the Metro family. So looking forward to that. That concludes my report, unless there's any questions I can answer.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments? Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to local 522 report. Is Captain McGoldrick on the line?
I am. Good evening, President Sheets and Board of Directors. I'd just like to say thank you to all involved for the testing process that's going through our membership right now. I think that's a win for us. It's just a tool in the toolbox for everybody to know where they stand. And that is all I have to report for tonight. Unless you have any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments? All right. Moving on to committee and delegate reports. The executive committee, I have nothing to report and we do not have a meeting scheduled. Communication Center JPA, Chief Shannon.
Thank you, President Sheets. Report out of the Comm Center JPA. We did have a special board meeting on the 18th in regards to the budget. That is still a work in progress. The other report out for the Comm Center is that the Academy is still going strong here at headquarters. They still have all 8 dispatcher recruits in their academy, and they're working hard. I think they plan on transitioning from our building sometime around June 11th back over to the Comm Center to continue their training. And looking forward to seeing them out, out in the field and dispatching calls. That is it. Our next meeting is June 9th, 9 a.m. End of report.
All right, moving on to California Fire Rescue Training JPA.
Good evening again. California Fire and Rescue JPA has not met for some time. We will meet June 18th, 4 o'clock. End of report.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to the Finance and Audit Committee, Director Orzali.
Finance and Audit Committee met this evening and received a report from CFO Amanda Thomas. We do not have a next scheduled meeting. That's to be determined.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to the Policy Committee, Director Gould.
No report.
All right, moving on to board member questions and comments. Director White.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. And I first want to congratulate those that are graduating from the academy. We did have an opportunity to observe them on the day they ran through the Combat Challenge course, which is something I always like to do, to scan for new recruits, but they looked good, and I'm looking forward to watching their graduation tomorrow. I wasn't planning to make this a regular segment, but I did want to talk about a call in District 9 that happened just last Sunday. When you're in the fire service, a lot of times you get some calls you're not expecting, and I got one last Sunday from a very composed yet very concerned mother to let me know that her 7-year-old had just been bitten by a rattlesnake and where was the best place to take her. So that's when I contacted 59 and let them know they had one coming their way. And Captain Jim Ellis and his crew, they let me know they already put themselves on the call, and they moved the ambulance out to the ramp, and they took very good care of this young lady. She wound up spending a couple nights in pediatric ICU and returned home the day before yesterday. And my wife asked her if there was anything she wanted, what kind of cupcake she liked. She was very specific. She wanted red velvet, white icing with sprinkles. So my wife said, Roger that, and went straight to the store. So tomorrow night, we're having a little social distancing parade to welcome her back to the neighborhood. And I've sent an invite to the on-duty crew at 59, and I'm very pleased that they accepted that. So I very much appreciate not only the care that they've provided, but the, just the community relations that the crew at 59 just continue to build. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Wright. Director Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. Good story, Walt. I don't know if I want to keep hanging with you too much, though. It seems like there's always some emergency 911 call. In any event, thank you for the update, Chief Green. Air Ops, I think, is an integral, important aspect of our work, and it's very important that we keep up on that, and we're knowledgeable, and we keep moving forward on those services. They really are indispensable when it comes down to it. They really are. Congratulations to the pilot who spent so many years with us. I appreciate that acknowledgement. And good luck to the troops tomorrow night, all the newbies. So good luck to everybody. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Moving on, Director Clark.
Okay. Yes, I too would like to thank Assistant Chief Green for his presentation on the helicopter. That's one of my favorite tools with Metro Fire. It's a great asset. Also, I want to congratulate the graduates tomorrow from the academy. I'm also looking forward to seeing that. I just hope that everybody continues to be safe out there, and I'm proud of our the men and women that work for Metro. They're doing a fantastic job during difficult times, and my main concern is for them to be safe, and also because it keeps the public at large safe. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Director Wood.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also want to thank Chief Green for your report. When I started here 7 years ago, one of the first things I got to do, one of the first opportunities I had was sit down with Darren Taylor, and he gave me a story about an incident that involved him in the helicopter, and that story alone sold me on the value of that helicopter to our people, not just our community members, but also our people. And it's good to hear that the program is still going and going strong. Also, living where I live with the fields behind me, having had the opportunity to see the dozer in action, I'm also a big fan of that program as well. So I'm glad to hear both those programs are going well, and just wish everyone a very safe and to continue to be safe. We went from a week with temperatures in the 80s to mid 100s, 105, 103. So that change, we haven't quite acclimated to it. So hope everyone takes their time and drinks lots of water and stays safe. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Director Orzali.
Thank you, Madam President. This week I had the opportunity to meet with the EOT team and Dr. Mackey, who have been handling the COVID test. And I just want to say how impressed I was by the quality of the presentation, by the information I received, and by the fact that Metro had run its own internal metrics comparing known COVID victims against the tests that were being run, and victims who are there was a 100% correlation between the fact that they had COVID and what the tests indicated. The same was true for patients without COVID. So I just think it's a great program, and I appreciate the opportunity to meet everyone and talk to them. Also, Director White, I believe in my backyard I can find a snake, and I kind of like cupcakes, so I'm just putting it out there. Thank you.
All right, Director
You're
Gould.
right on that, Director.
Yeah, after that, I'll pass.
All right, Director Sailors.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to thank Chief Harm for his updates that he sends out in the text messages that we get. That I really enjoy those. And thank you for the update for the firefighter that was injured recently. I'd like to congratulate the new recruits and welcome them to the status of firefighter tomorrow on their graduation. Also, I'd like to welcome the new part-time pilot, Pete Fate, and congratulate him and welcome him to the Air Division. And congratulations to Chuck Smith, the retired pilot, in all of his accolades. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Great. Just a few things. I'd like to congratulate our safety specialists and Mr. Sloan on their promotion. I'd also like to wish Mr. Baker a long and healthy retirement. I know some of our board members have talked about the antibiotic testing. I think that it is absolutely critical and important for our members to be tested, not only for their safety, but for their family's safety when they come home, and the safety of the public for them to be able to care for those patients. I also would like to thank Chief Green on the update for the communication equipment that's been or is getting installed in the for our Air Operations Division. I think that that's outstanding and also a very critical piece of equipment for safety. I also look forward to attending the promotional ceremony tomorrow and to congratulate them virtually. I hope everybody is going to stay safe, stay hydrated. It's going to be a 30-degree difference next week, so I'm sure everybody's going to welcome that. And with that, we will move into closed session. All right, so we will resume the regular meeting. General Counsel, can you please report out?
Yes, thank you, President Sheets. The board met in closed session today for the items listed on the agenda for the closed session. First, the board considered the workers' compensation claim of Todd Staffenbill and voted unanimously to provide authority to its third-party administrator to effectuate a settlement of his workers' compensation claim. Next, the board met with respect to the workers' compensation claim of Frank Lima Jr. and took action unanimously to provide approval to its third-party administrator to effectuate a settlement of that workers' compensation claim. Next, the board met in closed session with respect to the industrial disability retirement matter of Todd Staffenbill. No reportable action was taken, and that will be considered on the open session agenda after this. The board also met with respect to the industrial disability retirement matter pertaining to employee Rebecca Cordova. No reportable action was taken. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Regarding action item number 2, are there any questions? All right, hearing no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Can you please call the roll?
Director Gould,
Aye.
Orzali, Wood,
Aye.
Sailors,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
and Sheets.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right. In regards to action item number 3, are there any questions from our board members?
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we adopt the 2 industrial disability retirement proposals.
Second.
A first and a second. Can you please call the roll?
I second.
Thank you.
Director Gould,
Aye.
Orzali, Wood,
Aye.
Sailors,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
and Sheets.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right. With that, this meeting will be adjourned. Next board meeting is June 11th at 6 p.m. Have a good night.
Thank you, President.
Thank you, everyone.